Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it. Greetings, Algo Artisans. Nick Petrozello here. It is Monday, August the 4th. We're going to do our weekly market forecast. Before we get into it, go to the description, click the link, get your free algo. Link is in the description. Give us a real name, fake name. We don't care. We'll send you a free algo and we'll put you on the list to let you know when we're going to do our workshop. It is a free workshop the first time. The next workshops will be paid. That's coming up pretty soon here. So today we're going to take a look at the NASDAQ, USDJPY, BTC USD, that's Bitcoin, EURUSD, AUDUSD, GBPJPY, and gold. Before we do that, we're going to take a look at the financial news and data that is scheduled to come out this week, and these are things that can affect these charts. So here we are at Forex Factory. The week is going to be pretty light on news. As a matter of fact, this is August. August tends to be a slow week in finance. The exception might be crypto because we are in a mature part of the bull market. But even when crypto is in a bull, if traditional finance slows down, which it almost always does in August, even Bitcoin can slow down and crypto as a whole. We'll talk about that in a little bit. First news is going to be Tuesday at 10 a.m. EST. That's the ISM Services PMI. Next, we have at 6:45 p.m. New Zealand's unemployment data comes out. That can affect, of course, if you're trading the New Zealand dollar market, the old Kiwi. Next bit of news is not until Thursday. We have some British pound data coming out that's pretty strong. So this is their monetary policy report, summary, and bank rate. So if you're going to trade the pound, you got to watch out at 7 a.m. Thursday Eastern for that. Now, USD unemployment claims also comes out at 8:30 a.m. and that can push prices around. Then we have Friday, the Canadian employment data comes out at 8:30 a.m. EST. So that's all the news for this week. Nothing too big that we know of. Of course, there can be unexpected news that can affect the prices. So let's go ahead, jump into the charts, and we'll start with the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ had an interesting move. It was the end of the month. We are now at the beginning of the month. There was some news that came out on Thursday, some employment data that was very extreme, and then some backward-looking revisions as well to the same type of data. So the entire NASDAQ and the corresponding indices all fell, in this particular case, 4.5%. And that's notable. That's within just a day or two. That's a big deal. Came right back up, whether it's the plunge protection team, whether someone's playing games with the market because it was the end of the month and now we're at the beginning of the month. We don't know any of that, but what we do know is the algos do show that things might slow down. We might not see any new highs this week. Price is rebounding, but that's a reaction to this move down, and those tend to only go so far. And we might be pretty much getting there really soon. Price might peak up a little bit and then head back down. It all remains to be seen, and it really depends on the news and everything else. Let's take a look at USDJPY. This one is just bearish. Now, the USDJPY being bearish generally corresponds with the stock market being bearish. So if this is predicting the stock market, then our prior look at the NASDAQ might be a little too rosy. We might see it go down. However, I'm just doing what the algos are saying, and in this particular case, USDJPY might find a little support around 145.73, but then come back up for a little air and start to head back down. That's what I expect. We'll see how that goes. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin did make its move down along with the rest of the market. We are in the middle of a bull market, but there was a big move up recently, and there tends to need to be a pull back down to make up for that, right? Just a rebound back down in a high time frame. As it stands right now, a lot of liquidity is sitting at about 116,000 to 117.5, and that's where I think price is going to go soon, maybe even today. I think it's going to go grab that liquidity. There is a bit of bearishness in the higher time frame, but on the very, very high time frame, it's all pretty bullish. So I think you'll see price level off, maybe not do a lot this week, but it's a little bit unpredictable, right? The NASDAQ's going to have a lot to do with this. The Bitcoin bull market might just push it right back up, and it just continues on up. So I'm going to have a little bit of a conservative look for now, but as the week bears on, we might see me change my opinion to have Bitcoin go back above 116,000 and start to range between 116 and 120. Will it do it really quickly? I don't know. That's why I have this upward path where it might start to get back into that range. But this is really a let's see what happens as it happens. I'm not really putting out too strong of a forecast on this one. Let's take a look at EURUSD. So in the end, this one is bearish, but there was a massive push up due to that same news last week. Now I do think it's going to resume its bearish course, but I think for now it's going to maybe grab a little liquidity. There's always that slight chance that it runs all the way back up to grab liquidity a little bit higher and then come down. That could happen, but as it stands right now, I think it's going to go sideways and break downwards. We're going to see yet again how it unfolds, especially when some of the news comes out this week, but this is what I'm seeing. Let's take a look at AUDUSD. Aussie dollar, don't see a lot happening. The overall trend actually has been bullish, but what happened was here is that it just was really messy. This messy move up going back to the beginning of the year. Right now, the algos are saying not a whole lot, and again, it's a quiet time of the year. Price is kind of heading back into this range that we saw between 64.65 and 65.89. So price kind of heading back into this area, and I think we're just going to see a slight movement sideways, maybe a liquidity grab up around this 65.08 area, and then not much for the rest of the week. We'll see. It may break back down, but I don't think it will. Let's take a look at GBPJPY, otherwise known as the Beast. So this one finally broke out of its doldrums. Looks like it was distributing for quite a while here. If you look back, if you zoom out, we saw that price was going up since the end of quarter one, basically. And it was just messy grinding upwards against the yen. And then we saw a distribution up here. Now price is headed back down. So I think we're going to basically see probably a messy move down. I could be wrong about that. The JPY is getting pretty strong right now. It could pull down a lot more quickly than what I've drawn. That is possible, so I would be remiss not to include that possibility in here. But I do think what's really going to happen here is that we'll see a move just a little sideways, run up to grab some liquidity, and then maybe a bit of a strong move down towards the end of the week. We have support at 193.76 and again down at 192.71. I don't think we see price break below 193.76 or so without any major event. Let's take a look at gold. Gold right now is hanging in there, and every time people think it's going to break below 32.40, it does not. So I'm going to warn you all, if you zoom out, we are looking at a consolidation here, but the highs are being pretty consistent, right? So these highs right here on gold are not getting any lower, not really. You see them a little bit of variation, but what you do see are the lows, and those lows are getting higher. So this low, they're all getting higher, and that's an indication that the bulls are getting stronger, and this is consolidating for a move up. Now, I know a lot of people think that gold is going to take a big pullback. I think that gold is not going to do that. I think gold is probably going to go sideways and have higher lows until it pops back up. If you want a higher time frame look on gold, go ahead and ask in the comments. I'll be happy to share it, but I do see gold easily making its way to like $6,000 before the end of the decade, if not far sooner than that. Gold is what a lot of very important people used to pay each other off, and despite what you may have heard about it being a barbarous relic, I do not think that is the case. I think we see a slight pullback this week, and I think it's going to algorithmically want to go deeper, but I think it's going to be held up, and it might even pull back just a little bit and pop up, which is why I have this little pop-up arrow here as a potential more bullish than expected move, because all we have seen from gold is more bullish than expected. I do not expect gold to go below, in this particular case, 32.66. I think it might even not be able to go below 32.79. I think we'll see a pullback on the way back up. That's what I expect in gold, and I know a lot of our audience really likes to hear that. The last week's predictions, again, were really good. The prior weeks were really good. Now, they're always pretty good. However, in the summertime, towards August, we get a lot less surprise news events. When I make a prediction on Sunday or Monday, and one country in the Middle East bombs another on Tuesday, and it's a major country, my predictions kind of go out the window, and there's nothing that one can do about that. This is the X factor of the markets. What we can do about it after the fact is to take advantage of the resulting volatility, which is something we do at Algo Factory. We teach people how to predict where price is going to go. Even if there is a shock that may take you out of a trade in not a good way, at the same time, we can take advantage of that shock after it happens. And this has been an awesome year for that. So come on over to algofactor.tech. We will teach you how to trade like a hedge fund pro. And again, don't forget, we're giving away a free algo. It's going to show you how I build algos, right? Now, if you really know what you're doing, you might be able to optimize it and make it profitable. Even if you don't, you get to see a piece of the puzzle. So go to the link in the description, click it, get the free algo. In the meantime, we hope to see you tomorrow morning, Tuesday, early 8:30 a.m. EST for the live lab. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.